Last weekend, we decided to give Risk of Rain 2 a shot for date night. We only started playing the game recently, but it's quickly becoming a favorite around here. It may be a little dangerous, because any game that can devour 3 to 5 hours of our time without warning usually needs to be kept in a vault, but weathering the storm is part of the fun on Risk of Rain date night. Anytime we sit down on a Friday night for a roguelike, I pretty much have accepted that it's gonna be a whole weekend affair. It's way too easy for the two of us to con ourselves into the idea that we're sitting down for a quick game and then succumbing to the intoxicating charm of finding new stuff and shredding through bad guys. It's a theme with roguelikes that we'll forget to eat dinner because we're so invested in the run.
You're standing right in front of me. Are we competing for kills right now?
Yeah, because you said that you killed that guy, but I also killed him.
I wanted credit for the one that I clearly deserved credit for.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow? There's no... Alright, I'm going down. I'm fighting. Oh, I might die. Okay, I'm okay.
The thing about this game is that when things get going, they never really slow back down. Other than the occasional visit to the Land of Blue, we're pretty much always holding down the fire button. It can get pretty hectic with all the different colored bullets flying around, and I can't rightfully tell which ones are mine, his, or the enemy's.
What the hell?
I kill them
What
by
are
passing
you?
through them. I'm Fireboo.
Fireball.
Fireball.
When it comes to splitting up the items, we try to be as even as possible. It's not always easy though, because I tend to be more focused on staying alive than looting boxes. He seems to be the opposite, where not dying is just a bonus to finding good loot. I also think that Binding of Isaac has crippled me, because I hesitate way too much when I find an item I don't recognize out of the fear that it could ruin my entire run.
By the way, I have like one item.
Yeah, we should get you some more items.
That would be nice.
Here, let's see if we can get something from these things.
Okay.
Hey, another crowbar. I'll take that one, though. Because you already have one. I know that I said I was going to get you an item, but I didn't.
I'm not surprised.
Say what you will about my strategy, but I will always err on the side of not picking something up just purely based off the fact that I'm not 100% sure what it does. There isn't really a lot of time to sit around and weigh my options because the difficulty is getting harder with every second that passes. With that being said, my boyfriend will pick things up without thinking twice. He'll go running by with a dozen syringes in his leg and a knife in his shoulder, which I gotta admit I'm a little jealous of. It must be nice how easy it is for him to just throw caution to the wind and try something new.
He seems a little crazy. Just crazy enough to work.
I love playing roguelikes with my boyfriend because it's like having the wiki page open, but in a person.
What's Deathmark?
That is an item. Are you asking what it does?
Yes.
There's always a zillion different upgrades, power-ups, and moves to choose from. He's a lot quicker at picking up on what things are and what they do. He has a good memory when it comes to synergies and roguelikes, and a bad memory when it comes to my parents' birthdays. It's easy to leave him in charge of divvying up the items, but we've learned through trial and error that the only way I'm gonna keep up with all these power-ups is by giving them our own funny names.
Hey, it's a turtle.
Oh, the turtles are so good. I don't remember what they do, but
I don't
remember
either.
They're good.
I just like that they're turtles.
One of the most catastrophic things that can happen to the two of us in this game is when I die early on a planet. It already seems like he ends up with way more items than I do most of the time, but if I die early on a level, then he gets to hog every single item to himself. By the end of a run, it isn't that far-fetched to say that he'll have double the amount of items that I do.
I opened a bunch of them while I was waiting.
Did you take them all?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
sorry.
My favorite power-ups tend to be the ones that are more healing focused. I'm not comfortable with my health bar getting below half, and when it does, I'm usually already as good as dead. I really like that there are synergies where I can dish out some serious damage and be healed at the same time. I also really enjoy opening up a box and watching a shit ton of fireworks decimate everything around me.
We gotta find Tarn some fireworks. That's like her whole thing.
Yes, please.
I suffer from cooldown anxiety, which is to say that when something has a cooldown, I'll use it once and then forget that it's gonna come back. That is until my boyfriend so generously asks me if I know any other moves. I'm not even upset about all the nagging. I'd probably just sit there holding my basic attack the entire time if it wasn't for his helpful little reminders.
Is that what you used on the boss?
Yeah.
That did so much damage.
It did. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I like just blinked and half the health bar was gone.
You have to play fast, but you can't just run away from everything either. If you run away from stuff too much, you'll get overwhelmed pretty quick. But if you stop and try and fight them all, more just keep coming. We're both in a constant debate of what the sweet spot of fight and run ratio is, but the general consensus is that it's sort of a case-by-case basis.
Oh, do you want to fight two bosses?
No.
I think we're a little better off this time. Let's try it.
Why'd you even ask that?
It's one of those games where knowing your partner gives you a major advantage. I've had to know what he's thinking before he thinks since we moved in together, and I'll tell ya, that skill has come in clutch in this game.
Maybe this crate isn't worth... Oh shit, Taryn.
Ah! In the same light, the difficulty only gets higher the longer you play, so it's kind of a race against the clock. As much as I'd like to hang around looting every last box, the difficulty slider is constantly looming overhead. Nothing puts a pep in my step like seeing the game difficulty change from insane to impossible.
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
By the end of each planet, I always have way more cash on hand than he does. That's because he opens up all the chests for me and marks them so that I can find them. I'm not saying I wouldn't have found them by myself eventually, but we've got a schedule to keep here.
If there's a box, I want it, I want it, I want it.
It seems like when it's boss time, I'm never at the teleporter when we start it. He'll always ask me if I'm ready, and I'll give him the okay, while severely underestimating how far away from him I am. There are even times where I make my way there, and the boss is already dead.
Are we good? Can I activate the portal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. I don't know where the portal is.
Playing this game before bed has been ruled a poor decision in our household. It seems like we always start up our last run before bed and then end up finding the best items we ever have and playing well past the legal limit. It's hard to sleep when you feel invincible, but it's always funny when it all comes crashing down a few seconds later.